Today, we're diving into an AI model that has some new abilities that are, frankly, a little mind-bending. It's called Gemini 1.5, and it's not just another step forward for AI, it's a massive leap. Let's get into why. So, to really wrap your head around how different this model is, let's start with a little challenge. Imagine you give an AI the entire text of Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. That's all 1,382 pages. Then, you just show it this simple, kind of crude drawing of a man getting some candlesticks. Is there any way it could possibly find that exact scene? Well, the answer is yes, it did it. It not only found the scene, but it pinpointed the exact passage. And get this, it did this while holding the entire 730,000-word novel in its short-term memory all at once. This is a superpower we just haven't seen before. So how on earth does it work, and what does it actually mean for us? Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the test that proves this incredible power. Then we'll get into its massive memory, its new senses, and its unbelievable speed. After that, we'll see what this means in the real world, and finally, wrap up with the super important topic of building this stuff responsibly. It all really starts with that classic challenge, finding a needle in a haystack. This is pretty much the go-to method for testing an AI's ability to pull one specific fact out of a giant pile of information. And believe me, Gemini 1.5's performance here is what completely changes the game. To get why this is such a big deal, we need to talk about something called the context window. The easiest way to think about it is like an AI's working memory. It holds all the information the AI is thinking about at one time. This info is measured in tokens, which are basically pieces of words. The bigger and more reliable that memory is, well, the more powerful the AI can be. And this, right here, is where Gemini 1.5 takes a quantum leap. We are not talking about a small incremental upgrade. We are talking about a fundamental shift in scale, and it's all centered around a 1 million token context window. Let's just put that number into perspective for a second. The previous leader in this space, GPT-4 Turbo, has a context window of 128,000 tokens. Gemini 1.5 Pro comes in with a cool million. That's almost an 8-fold increase. It's the difference between an AI remembering a chapter of a book and an AI remembering an entire library. But here's the absolute kicker. It's not just bigger, it's better. See, with other models, as you fill up their memory, they start to get a little fuzzy. They forget things. Gemini 1.5 Pro, on the other hand, maintains near-perfect 99% recall across its entire 1 million token memory. It remembers everything, perfectly. And this absolutely massive memory isn't just for reading text. Nope, Gemini 1.5 basically has a mind with more senses. The technical term for this is native multimodality. So what that really means is that the model was trained, right, from the very beginning to process all sorts of information: text, code, pictures, audio, even video, all at the same time in the same continuous thought. It doesn't need to stop and switch to a different tool for each one. It just understands. So why does that matter? Well, let's look at a really profound real-world problem. This quote here highlights a huge challenge. How do you preserve endangered languages, like Colomang, that are mostly spoken, not written? I mean, how could you ever teach an AI a language that barely even has a written record? This is how. For the very first time, an AI was able to learn a new language pretty much from scratch, just by listening to audio recordings and reading grammar books at the exact same time. It used that huge memory and its new senses to do something that honestly was thought to be impossible before. Now, all this power is incredible, right? But it's not very useful if it's too slow or way too expensive for most people to use. And that's exactly why there's a second version, Gemini 1.5 Flash. It's built for one thing: pure speed and efficiency. And when we say fast, we mean it. For English, Flash is spinning out text over 4 times faster than GPT-4 Turbo. But check this out. For more complex languages like Japanese and Chinese, the difference is just staggering. We're talking 8 to 10 times faster. That kind of speed makes these powerful new abilities actually usable for big, real-time applications. So, let's recap. A giant, perfect memory, more senses than ever before, and it's lightning fast. We've covered the what, but now let's get to the really important part, the so what. What does this actually mean for regular professionals trying to get their work done? It means this: 56.4%. Any guesses what that number represents? That is the average amount of time saved by real professionals who used Gemini 1.5 Pro to finish a complex task for their job compared to how long it took them without AI. Over half their time was just gone, eliminated. And we're not just talking about coders and programmers here. This was a preschool teacher planning a whole week of lessons, a photographer analyzing dozens of photos, a developer outlining a huge project, and even a chiropractor creating a detailed 6-month PR plan. The impact here is really broad and it's really substantial. Of course, with this level of power comes an immense amount of responsibility. So the final and maybe most important piece of this whole puzzle is making sure this technology is developed and released safely, with really strong guardrails in place. And this isn't some afterthought they tack on at the end. It's a core part of the whole process. The model goes through rigorous internal red teaming, where experts literally try to break it. Then it's tested by independent outside groups to find any blind spots. After that, it has to pass assurance tests, and then it's reviewed by a special counsel, all before the final product-level safeguards are even put on. It's this multi-layered approach that's so essential for building safety in from the very start. So that's our deep dive into Gemini 1.5, a model with a near-perfect million-token memory and senses that can see, hear, and read all at once. It really is a profound leap forward. And it leaves us with one heck of a fascinating question. With these new superpowers finally unlocked, what truly difficult problems are we going to choose to solve next?